Good day. Welcome to Westchester Talk Radio. WestchesterTalkRadio.com, produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by Robeson Oil, the house that service built. By Lipolis Electric, don't be left in the dark, get Lipolis. By Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard. Also by White Plains Hospital, by Michael Lambriola, landscape design and construction of Armonk, and by Tompkins Mahopac Bank. On the Beat in Westchester, joined by Steve Greenberg. Steve Greenberg, Siena College pollster at the Siena Polling Institute outside Albany. Steve Greenberg, welcome back to Westchester Talk Radio. You are the numbers guy. It's been a busy month of polling. Masking mandates still in the news, as they might be for a while. And it seems a large majority of New Yorkers are waiting to see what the numbers might be.
Sure. Well, Siena asked two masking questions this month. The first one was about the indoor public space mask mandate that existed up until it ended on February 10th. And what we said to voters was, do you think that the mask mandate should have ended earlier? It was right to end on February 10th, or it should still be in place? And on this one, New Yorkers are divided. 31% said it should have been gone before February 10th. Another 20% said February 10th was the right day to end it. So that gives you a small majority, 51%. But a plurality of voters, the answer more voters said than any other, was that the mask mandate should still be in place. 45% of New Yorkers said that. And what you would expect in terms of a partisan divide, very much there. 56% of Republicans said the mask mandate should have been gone in public places long before February 10th. And 58% of Democrats said, no, it should still be in place. Then when we asked about the schools, and we said to the voters that New York's mask mandate for teachers, students, and staff in schools is still in place. Governor Hochul said the state would reassess its position on masks in schools after the February break. Which of the following three positions is closest to yours? The mask mandate should have been over already. The mask mandate should end next week when the kids come back from February break, or we should wait for data in early March before making a determination on what to do about the school mask mandate. And that's the winner. Big majority. 58% of voters said, let's wait. 30% said they should have been gone already. Another 10% said, well, end it next week when they come back after February break. Again, we have that partisan divide between Republicans and Democrats that you would expect. But the really interesting one on this question, it seems to me, is looking at it by whether people have children under 18 in their household or not. I think it matters whether, you have a school-age children, how you feel about this. And excuse me, I'm just getting a little cold. So what we found is that if you don't have a child under 18 in your house, 64% of those people said, let's wait till we get more data. Only 25% said the mask mandate should have been gone already. But when it comes to if you have a school-age child in your house, 46% of those people said, let's wait for the data. 40%, 46 versus 40, 40% said they should have been gone already. And another 13% said, get rid of them next week when they come back. So what you have is 53% of parents who say, masks should be gone next week when the kids come back, versus 46% of the parents who say, no, let's wait for the data. So if you're a school board member, if you're a school superintendent, you're in a very much lose-lose position right now, because no matter what you decide, about half of your constituency, the parents of your students, about half of them are going to be upset if you decide to keep masks on, and about half of them are going to be upset if you take the masks off. Good luck.
Let's see what happens when the medical people release their numbers in early March and how people might react to that. Now, state residents by a huge margin say crime is a serious problem around New York State. And they also strongly support efforts to reform what the Democratic Party did regarding bail reform a couple of years ago. That's gotten one tweak already. There's a big push, especially by New York City Mayor Eric Adams, to reform even more, maybe even much more. What do New Yorkers think about this?
Well, first of all, you're right. I mean, New Yorkers are very concerned about crime. 91% of New Yorkers say that crime across the state is a serious problem. 60%, 6 out of 10, say it's a very serious problem. Closer to home, people feel a little bit better, but still 63% of New Yorkers say crime in their community is a serious problem. 27%, more than a quarter of New Yorkers say crime in their community is a very serious problem. 57% of New Yorkers say they're concerned that they may be a victim of crime. 22% of New Yorkers, nearly a quarter, say they're very concerned they might be a victim of crime. So we asked voters, how do you feel about the bail reform law that was passed by the legislature, signed by the governor into law 3 years ago? And what we see is it's not even close. 65% of New Yorkers, just about 2/3, say we have to amend the bail law to give judges more discretion to keep violent criminals off the street. 27% of voters disagree and say we shouldn't be amending the bail law right now, because if we do, we could wind up back where we were with people of color being disproportionately denied bail. You see a partisan difference, but not a partisan divide. 56% of Democrats, 61% of independents, and 88% of Republicans all say we should reform the bail law. Where there's some difference of opinion, people of color, younger voters. Younger voters say that we should change the law, but only by a margin of 50 to 38%, or a 12-point margin. Latino voters say we should amend the law by a narrow 7-point margin, 48 to 41, and Black voters even narrower, almost break even, 44 to 40%. Black voters say we should amend the law. So it's got support across the board, less support in communities of color, less support among younger voters, but still very strong support at 65 to 27 to amend the law.
Steve Greenberg, Siena College Pollster here on Westchester Talk Radio on the Beat in Westchester. I'm John Marino. Kathy Hochul seems to have both legs up. People like Jumaane Williams and Tom Suozzi, they're still in the race, but we wonder maybe should they still be?
Well, at the moment, no. But, look, to paraphrase Yogi, it gets late early. I mean, we are only 4 months away from the primary, so it feels like it's late. Yet, on the other hand, we are very early in the process because we're dealing with a lot of candidates who are largely unknown to voters. We're dealing with, while Governor Hochul is the incumbent, she has never been elected to that office previously. But right now, among registered Democrats, and we should caution this is not a sample of likely Democratic primary voters, but among registered Democrats, nearly half, 46%, say they're with Hochul, 17% say they're with New York City Public Advocate Williams, and 9% say they're with Long Island Congressman Tom Suozzi. But still, more than a quarter of Democrats, 28% right now, say they're not sure. And when we look at the three candidates and we look at them just among Democratic voters, Hochul's got a 63 to 17% favorability rating, compared to 38-15 for Williams and 23 to 15 for Suozzi. So Hochul more well-known to Democrats, more well-liked by Democrats. Democratic voters particularly think she's doing a good job right now. So this race is certainly hers to lose. That said, we have 4 months till the primary.
On the Republican side, Andrew Giuliani still seems to be the pace setter when it comes to popularity.
And that's it. Because the state is so overwhelmingly Democrat, 50% of the enrolled voters of the state are Democrats, only 22% of the enrolled voters are Republicans. We're able to run a horse race in this statewide poll of registered voters because there's enough Democrats. There's not enough Republicans. So we haven't been able to run a Republican primary to see what it is, where Republican voters are at. But what we do know is that among Republicans alone, Rob Astorino has a 21 to 13% favorability among Republicans, which means nearly 2/3 of Republicans either have never heard of him or don't know enough about him to have an opinion. Lee Zeldin, the Republican congressman from Long Island, a little bit better, but not much. 27 favorable, 16 unfavorable among Republicans. But again, well over half of Republicans either never heard of him or don't know enough about him to have an opinion. And here, we've talked about this before, John. Here we have Andrew Giuliani, the man who's never run for office, never held elective office in New York. But among Republicans, 47% say they view him favorably. 28% say they view him unfavorably, which means that only about a quarter of Republicans say they've never heard of Andrew Giuliani. We know this is not true. What we know is last names matter. Our callers say Andrew Giuliani, and unfortunately, I think too many voters on the phone hear Rudy Giuliani. But what that says is Zeldin and Astorino, and now Harry Wilson, the latest addition to the Republican gubernatorial field, really have their work cut out for them because Republicans think they know Giuliani, whether they do or they don't. They don't know the other candidates. If the primary were held right now, that would give Giuliani a big advantage. Thing is, primary is not held till the end of June, so we'll see.
I'd like to see George Pataki get in. I see some people trying to draft him. He says no. What he says is, I'm glad that some people think I did a good job as governor, but hey, it's politics, right, Steve? You never say never.
Look, Governor Pataki served 3 terms in office. One could debate the good that he did and the bad that he did. I don't want to have that debate. I have a lot of respect for Governor Pataki. I think the man has earned his retirement if that's what he chooses, but he's certainly free to get in the race.
Rob Astorino, of course, one-time Westchester County executive. 2014, he ran for governor, was the Republican nominee against Andrew Cuomo, who resigned as governor last summer in the middle of his 3rd term. Andy keeps floating thoughts or threats of a comeback, basically. And yet New Yorkers think this is not the right thing to do.
No, we had not asked about Andrew Cuomo since October, but because his name was coming up so much of late and there had been this talk that he might run again and try to make a comeback, we asked a few questions about Cuomo this month. I don't think we'll have to going forward. Right now, 30% of voters view Andrew Cuomo favorably. 33% view him favorably. 60% view him unfavorably. That's exactly, to the point, 33-60, where it was back in October. So unchanged. Do you think Andrew Cuomo did or did not commit sexual harassment against multiple women who work for the state of New York? 58% say yes, 21% say no, he didn't. Back in October, that was 56-28, so it's actually up a little bit. Do you think Andrew Cuomo's been vindicated now that the DAs have decided, 5 local DAs have decided not to prosecute him? Only 25%, a quarter of New Yorkers think he's been vindicated. 56% say no, he is not. Even among Democrats, only 30% think he has been vindicated. So finally, we ask voters, do you think Andrew Cuomo made the right decision or the wrong decision last August to resign as governor of the state of New York? 80% of New Yorkers say Cuomo made the right decision to resign. 79% of Democrats, 86% of Republicans, 76% of independents. And Cuomo's strongest base, even when his numbers were tanking last year, was among Black voters. Right now, among Black voters, 69%, more than 2/3, said Cuomo made the right decision to resign in August.
Steve, you're the numbers guy, but Andy should look at the numbers before he makes his next move, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, look, voters are not ready to forgive and forget and move on with Andrew Cuomo at the moment.
They might be one day.
Perhaps.
Not today.
I mean, let's look at previous New York pols who've tried political comebacks after problems. It didn't go well for Eliot Spitzer. It didn't go well for Anthony Weiner. We'll see what happens with Andrew Cuomo.
Steve Greenberg, Siena Polling Institute pollster. Now, voters across New York are very worried about inflation from all angles.
Absolutely. We asked voters, how serious a problem do you think inflation is in terms of the national economy? 92% say it's a serious problem. 63% say it's a very serious problem. And how about on your personal finances? 78% say it's a serious problem. 39% say it's a very serious problem. Both the numbers on personal finance and on how it's affecting the nation's economy, both up since December, when Siena last asked about it. So there is no question that inflation and crime are two of the biggest front burner issues as we are moving further into this midterm election year.
Speaking of midterm elections and whether or not the Democrats will be able to keep the House of Representatives and keep the Senate, et cetera, and keep state legislatures around the country, in this bluest of states, the state of New York, President Biden's numbers keep going down.
Yeah, no question. Look, Biden is at the lowest point he has been since he has been president. Right now, it is dead even in terms of his personal favorability. 48% of New Yorkers say they view Joe Biden favorably. 48% view him unfavorably. Nearly three-quarters, 73% of Democrats still view Biden favorably, but 86% of Republicans view him unfavorably. And by a 22-point margin, 59 to 37%, independents view him unfavorably. How's he doing as president? Again, the worst rating he's gotten. Only 36% of New York voters say that he's doing an excellent or good job, compared to 63% who say he's doing only a fair or poor job. Even among Democrats, it's only a 54 positive, 44 negative rating on his job performance. So, Biden's got, in a bit of trouble in New York. And if he's in trouble in true blue New York, that certainly gives an indication of where he may very well be in some of the more light blue or purplish states, should we say.
Steve Greenberg, thank you for joining us and going through all the numbers here on Westchester Talk Radio on the Beat in Westchester. Let's talk again real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
All right, Steve Greenberg, Siena Polling Institute, and he's a pollster at the Siena Polling Institute outside Albany, and he always joins us every few weeks or so to dissect and dice and cut through the numbers here on Westchester Talk Radio. WestchesterTalkRadio.com, produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by Robeson Oil, the house that service built. By Lipolis Electric, don't be left in the dark, get Lipolis. By Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard. By White Plains Hospital. By Michael Labriola, landscape design and construction of Armonk. And by Tompkins Mahopac Bank. Catch all of our Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, Dutchess, Orange, and Fairfield County Talk Radio programming on our YouTube channel, Sharc Creative YouTube. And don't forget to download our app. Take it with you anywhere and everywhere you go. It's called Westchester Talk.